Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So next match, Cross-Banlist Cup. So let's zoom in. We have at least one former tier 0 deck from almost 8 years ago. So we have Spyrals. There were a couple of variants that were relevant back then. Of course we had pure Spyrals. And of course a Grinder Spyrals as in the OCG, featuring Grinder Golem. But the first deck list is a Shaddolls variant. Well, Shaddolls, this is like a small Shaddolls package. But of course mainly focused on getting out Winda, of course. Because of Epcalone, right? You know, the small engine, you know, featuring the... It's mainly an Invoked deck. Invoked Dogmatika, featuring a small Shaddolls package. So which deck has the advantage? I was a little bit starstruck when I saw that Spyrals had the advantage over... At least the people voted Spyrals having the advantage over the Invoked deck. Invoked Dogmatika, seeing that... especially when Invoked Dogmatika is going first, them having the advantage of, you know, with 3 Prosperity, 3 Nadir Servant, Maximus, 3 Ecclesia. Sure, you can go for the Dogmatika package, which, you know, Dogmatika into Shaddolls package into Winda. And what is a decklist from 2017 doing against a chained Winda on, let's say, Super Agent's effect, for example? Like, this deck has hardly any counters for, you know, something like that. So that's definitely an issue. So Spyrals going second, and these kind of ends definitely don't work out. Quick Fix as a normal summon is fine, but it's not really the card that, you know, stacks the card of your opponent's top deck. Sleeper is awkward, you want to search it out eventually with the combo, same for last resort. The Spiral field spell is definitely one of the strongest field spells ever in this game, because again, it's very similar to Tenbai. It prevents targeting for your Spyrals, it's a once per turn search, it recycles, I think every monster, at least every kind of monster. It can be a Spiral, it can be like a main deck monster. I don't think it recycles extra deck cards, but here, what can I do? There's nothing I can do about this. This is full combo, and we have Grinder Golem. So as you know, Grinder Golem, like up until, I guess, Link format, it was never really a problem, but as soon as Links entered the metagame, you know, entered the game as well, Grinder was a problem. Again, you're basically sacrificing your normal summon, but at the cost of giving your opponent the Grinder and you 2 tokens, and the effect is not once per turn. So back then there were, like now, there were a couple of cards that have the capability to bounce the Grinder back to your hand. The first one being Akashic, and very similar to Dark World, I guess, you know, bouncing Ceruli to Silva your opponent's hand a couple of times. Again, very similar. You have, what is it, Akashic? Is it Akashic? It's Akashic, I think. The one that bounces. You have Security Dragon and Firewall. Pre-errata, and there's 2 firewalls in the extra deck here, potentially extra linking your opponent as well. Anyway, so I think the only hand trap that could nuke this board and prevent you from basically setting up my desired field was indeed Nibiru. And can Spiral play around Nip? I don't think so. They can just keep Nip and prevent the Trigate Wizard from hitting the field. Trigate, I guess, is this deck's Omni negation as a monster. And even like getting out Firewall, calling to Trigate negation, that's fine, but it, you know, it definitely doesn't interrupt Droplet. So Droplet is definitely very big against this deck. Anyway, so very similar opening hand. We do have Crow. Crow as a one-off hand trap is searchable, as you know, because of the Lurlisk package and Rank 1 package. There's a couple of, here is, you know, it could diversify your combo, but because I have those awkward cards, one-offs in my hand, I go for Saryuja. You know, draw 4, send deck 3, and basically get the extra special summon as well, right? Because we sacrificed our normal summon. So let's see, we have Strike. Strike is super important, right? Prevents the Maximus, prevents Ecclesia, so that could be important later. Let's see. I guess a Nip would have been activated already. I could assume, I think so. So we go for Firewall pre-errata, right? So you're not locked, locked into special summoning Cybers, I guess. And again, you could diversify here, but I do opt to go for a weaker Firewall bounce. I guess maximizing the value. We know the top card of their deck, it's still Troll. We were able to stack that with Spiral Drone, I think. I think it's Drone. So yeah, now it's basically standard Firewall combo, Firewall shenanigans. We go for a second Firewall. Ah man, it has been a while. like, what is it? I think, yeah, indeed, Goki Extra Link, or any deck that Extra Links having access to multiple Fireball triggering pre-errata. So this is Monster Reborn #1, the Spiral big gear, red gear, big gear, you know, the equip spell Premature Burial, and then we can use the one of Trap, basically to co-link the Tri-Gate. So we go, this is, you know, like OG Spyrals, going for sleep. Back then, this board was insane. Now it feels, you have one Omni Negation, you know, Tri-Gate and a double pop. And of course, okay, the field spell protects Sleeper, plus Last Resort also protects Sleeper, right, you know. And I think I also had a Firewall Bounce, but I might be wrong. I think so. Oh, keep in mind, Set Rotation was a cute deck. You know, giving your opponent Gateway to Chaos, I believe the name is. It's the Black Luster field spell, that whenever you're giving that to your opponent face down, your opponent cannot flip it face up. Because they cannot search the appropriate card, you know, because nobody is making Gaia stuff or Black Luster stuff. So basically, by giving your opponent your brick, it's basically blocking them from activating any field spell. So back then, that was a nifty tech. The problem now is going second, and this is an okay board for like the deck. Best case scenario, I guess, Invoked, the Dogmatika is Shaddolls, obviously. I don't think... were they able to go for Maximus? I might be... I don't think so. There was no extra... what am I missing? I might have missed something. Anyway. So let's see. We go for Super Agent. The problem is, my hand was fantastic. Especially with the Kaiju, the one-off-sided Kaiju, hitting Phoenix Enforcer, hitting the Makaba, the one-off negation. Like, my hand was super sick, but Droll nukes this deck. Heavily nukes this deck. Prevents the surges, and this deck, as you saw, like the statistics, it's somewhat weakish. Well, weakish as in, it's very hard for this deck to recover. Like if your opponent is able to negate double Helix, especially, you know, Cross-Banlist alike, the more recent decks, it's very hard for this deck to come back. So I was like, okay, I need to bounce back the Kaiju, and you know, the deck is definitely able to go for another Makaba, because I think they recycle Invoker. Worst case scenario, next to Makaba there is also the Phoenix Enforcer, and we need to Kaiju that, because Phoenix Enforcer just power creeps the, you know, especially a lot of the older decks. Phoenix Enforcer, in all honesty, power creep Spyrals feels, because they can pop the field spell on their turn. I needed another field spell and more follow-up, but that wasn't the case. So I think we have a well-deserved winner, and you know, even though only Winda was dropped during the first duel, I think, you know, Winda could have come up much more, and you know, Spyrals definitely would have been in trouble whenever Winda hit the field on a chain, as you know, hitting a monster effect or Spiral Super Agent. Anyway, the last couple of matches, we have Cosmo, so that's really nice. Cosmo, Demise Cosmo, that is going to take on Chronomaly. Oof, OCG. Because we in the TCG never got, you know, this deck at full power when Disc was released in the OCG. Anyway, so feel free to leave your predictions. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like. If you enjoyed the video, leave them signing out. Peace.